It's your girl, Pixie Lee. I am here with Mayhem in May. And what I feel like today's topic means is to focus on what's going on and what the goal is. Because we all know that in business and in life, it's going to happen. Stuff is going to come up. Things are going to happen. Things are going to be out of your control, and you can do absolutely nothing about them. So with that being said, you can't get caught up in what's going on and be sitting around and working on what's going on, and you lose sight of what the end goal is. So one thing I always tell my son, his goal is to get to the NBA. So you know that is every basketball kid's dream right now. He's 17, but as he's on this journey, there are always obstacles. And I tell him, hey, it's an obstacle. It's part of your journey. Don't let it distract you. What is the end goal? So when we're talking tonight, it's not just the end goal, it's the bigger picture. What are you trying to accomplish? When all this hard work is done and it's paid off in the end, what is it that you're going to be able to say that you've accomplished? But it's someone else that we want to weigh in on this topic with us, and it's our dynamic speaker for the night, Miss Emmasara. The ball is in your hands.
Thank you so much. My name is Emmasara, and I am the founder of the Family of Change movement. I'm also an author of now 7 books. I just published one of my newest releases this week, so I had to go from 6 to 7. And I also have, I'm also the CEO of multiple LLCs, but my biggest claim to, whatever, like accolade, whatever you want to call it, is my 8 kids, y'all. I have 8 kids from the ages of, hell, he just turned 3. We got a 4-year-old all the way. Listen, when you got as many kids as I do, you have to pause for a second. Okay, so I have the youngest is 4 and the oldest is right now 22. And so I want to introduce you to my family. And first of all, I want to just tell you, thank you so much for having me, because this is actually a topic that I'm passionate about. Y'all are talking about the big picture, okay? And when you have a big family, you get a big picture, okay? And so my family right here, I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of them, and it's with a purpose. Since we're talking about vision and we're talking about end goals, I do feel like it's necessary to introduce you a little bit more intricately to my kids than maybe you might be expecting. But we have we're going to go to the very top here. So my oldest girl, she is 22, okay? At the age of 13, she was nominated for a film award at a Christian film festival. But at the age of 22, she actually got nominated for 3 actual film awards, okay? And at the age of 22, also, she works for the top, #1 Christian film company in the US, and she is a producer for them at 22, okay? And so my son here, Niall in the back, he is 20. He just turned 21 actually a couple of days ago. But when he was 16, he actually learned how to fly a plane before he was able to learn how to drive the vehicle. And so for our 16th birthday, he took me flying with his trainer on our joint birthdays, okay? And I'm going to tell you why I'm giving you guys this information. But before he even turned 18, just weeks before, he bought his second plane cash and he bought his first vehicle cash, okay, at the age of 18, all right? And then we have Dave right over here, the second one. At the age of 16, I have a whole testimony, y'all. I'm not going to give it to y'all today, but I'm going to tell you there's a whole testimony behind this, okay? The 16-year-old is the one, if she was in high school, people would have held her behind, but I am a homeschooler. I let her graduate early because mama knows, all right? I let her graduate at 16, and she went on to get herself into Liberty University that same year at 16. I didn't do anything about it. She got herself in, did the transcripts and everything, all right? And she at the age of 15 or 16, she started to intern for a multi-million-dollar company. And then she became their top graphic designer, okay? And then she also became one of their top salespeople. So she would close like 10K deals, all right, at the age of 16. And then we have Von Kensington, this little curly redhead guy over here. At the age of 13, he was not doing great in school, y'all, at all. He wasn't doing great. He was frustrated. He would get upset about everything under the sun. That redhead thing is for real. Okay. And so he would get really frustrated. And so what happened was we found out that he had interest in tech. And so we ended up, we want to push our kids, like you were saying, Pixie, or, pushing your boys in this area of sports, like getting them to move. And so I was like, he might not be good at what his siblings are. Maybe his kids, maybe some of, like, his brother was more scholastic and he wasn't very scholastic, but he was good in tech. And so anyway, he ended up going. It took him multiple times, but he became one of the youngest in the nation, maybe the world, but definitely in the nation, to be certified by Jeff Bezos as a Amazon Web Services provider. It's a 6-figure certification. So at the age of 15 now, he is he's on intern for a big company, and he is doing really well as a freelancer. Okay. And my 7-year-old, all right, he, at the age of 7, the Lord told me to get him into organic chemistry, y'all. I don't know nothing about organic chemistry. And my husband, a smart guy, said, do you know about organic chemistry? He's like, I don't know nothing about. I said, well, God said to get him in organic chemistry. Okay. So listen, I'm the founder of Families of Change. So I'm going to give you a family message wherever I go, whether it's in business or on the street, y'all. Okay. Because I want to encourage you as parents. I want to encourage you to encourage your children. Okay. Envision even. All right. Because listen, we're talking about business today. We're here to talk about entrepreneurship. But when we realize that we got a whole bunch of power within our house, all right, this is the kind of stuff that could happen. So when he was 7, I obeyed God, got him into chemistry. He got assessed by a Harvard professor. Okay, 6 months. He never had any professional training. I just gave him resources, tools, and links, and he got assessed. And he said, Emmasara, you get this kid into a college class, because he just did better than a 25-year-old tutoring student I had from Harvard. He got it quicker than this student did. I was like, but that's God, okay? Because where God guides, he provides. I'm always telling people this. Like I said, whether it's in business or it's in the church, okay, he does provide. And so he gave him what he needs to do that. So my 9-year-old over here, he's a pastor. He's a legit pastor. He does sermons every week in a kids group called Kids of Change. He does a study. I don't ever check his stuff. He's really good. Every once in a while, he's a little bit off, but I help him in that. But I don't put any of his sermons together. And so that's Remington. And this guy right here at the age of 4, he was almost 5. He wrote a book. Okay, it's his book out of his little brain, and it's called Brian's Dino Adventures. Okay. He was the youngest author of the century when he wrote it. All right. Do not despise youth. All right. And this little guy, Auntie Ashanti, Dr. Pitt's wife, always says, Emmasara, I think he's I think he's traveled more than most adults. That's the only claim he has, y'all. He hasn't got any entrepreneur, nothing, but he's traveled with mama. Okay. So that's what he's gotten. So the reason I want to share this with you guys is because we're talking about it's a two-way message today. We're talking about don't lose sight of the vision, but it was also called don't lose sight of the big picture. All right. And I needed to share this story with y'all today, because this all sounds amazing, right? But what if I told you in 2018, our family of 10 was living in an RV that was 235 square feet in the Chihuahuan Desert with no running water. Our electricity was spotty, and my husband lost all of our income overnight. And if bad went to worse, it went from worse to worse. And we only made $26,000 in 2018. Okay. It was meager. We were living below poverty level. All right. But this is where we come back to the focus of vision. Don't lose the focus, because when we were down to nothing, God was up to something, and we had to continue to go back. Okay. We were grinding. We were working hard. My husband had to change careers. He had got medically retired, but now he got better, but he, lost that pension. He lost everything overnight. And what happened, okay, was he had to work quick. Like God healed his body, which was great, but he lost all his income over, like literally, they didn't give us any time. They're like, that was your last paycheck. And so that was it. We lived in Timbuktu, y'all. It was 4 hours to the mall. Okay. When I say in the middle of nowhere, we lived in the middle of nowhere. Okay. And so when you think of the job market in the middle of nowhere, and we had just tied all of our money up in a property. All right. He started to build his own company. We were debt free. He did not want to go into debt. All right. And we never went into debt, but we only had $26,000 to our entire name for the entire year. Okay. And so we had to keep that vision. We had to keep on rolling on, and we had to figure out what we were going to do. Okay. So everything that I just told you guys, I wanted to share this with you, was because we kept the vision, we kept focus. And what we did is we became a one income household. Do you see why it was so important that everybody learned how to do something? Because we became a one income household. All right. And so many times what happens is that parents aren't teaching their kids how to, what do they say? You can give a man a fish to eat. You can give your kid a fish to eat, but you need to teach him how to fish. Right. And so the vision for our family was that we're gonna have a house full of fishermen. Okay, we don't want to just have all these little hungry mouths to feed. We want them to learn how to fish. Okay, we want to teach them how to hunt. And so for us, all right, as a family, our vision had to expand, and it was beyond, beyond hope. It was survival, y'all. Okay, and so, oh, we got a quick slide here. All right, we're stuck. Just 1 second here. All right, sorry about that. Oh, my husband gave me a new system here, so. All right. So this is, I'm sorry. So this is why we have to stay locked in, okay? So we can say don't lose sight of the vision, but I always like to think about the people who are dealing with resistance. Whenever you're in business, okay, self-sabotage is number one offender in an entrepreneurial business, okay? Self-sabotage is number one. I see it the most common. I think the greatest death of a business comes through self-sabotage, all right? And so when we're talking about the picture and we're talking about the vision, is for those who are really already dealing with resistance, okay, because it's something that we don't think about. It's like a byproduct of what happens with us inside, that we'll become resistant, okay? Y'all, we want to succeed. We say it with our mouth, but then with our actions, we self-sabotage, all right? And so we have a vision, but rather than tell you, for the person out there who is feeling, this is what I'm saying, okay? There might be somebody watching this that you're working, but there is a level of resistance. So the moment I tell you, don't lose sight of the vision, that little rebellion within you is like, don't tell me what to do. Because when my 2-year-old was like 2, okay, and I said, don't do X, Y, Z, the first thing, what happens when you have a 12-month-old and you say, don't do that, the first thing they want to do is they want to cross the boundary. So I want to talk to everybody, because everybody who's watching this today is going to be at a different level of entrepreneurship. Okay. Some people might be making double 6 figures. Some people might be at minus, 6 figures. And so I want to talk to everybody today. Everybody's at a different place. Some people might be, feeling really good about what they're doing. And some people might be feeling resistance. And to the person who's feeling resistance, I'm going to tell you just to stay locked in on your vision. I just want to encourage you to stay locked in on your vision and listen, okay? There's some real spiritual things that go on out there, and resistance is legitimate, and you're not the only one who is feeling this resistance. We all have to overcome it. It's something that happens when we stay locked in our vision, though, okay? So I have a quote here from Kimmy Warner, all right? And I'm just going to give you a little background about Kimmy. The reason I have her here is because I actually put her in our one of my books that I wrote, Passion, Purpose, Time Management, which I have right here, okay? It's called Passion, Purpose, Time Management. And this woman, okay, she rode with a great white shark in the wild, okay? Not like staged whatsoever. She was just minding her own business. She was a deep sea diver, and she would, go and she would spear fish, like I think at 100 feet, I don't know, really, really deep without a mask. So she caught my attention because I love a woman with grit, okay? And if I could learn that a woman, she said this, okay, this big, great white shark comes out of nowhere. And she said that I had to, and I've taken this ever since I watched, I have taken it with every part of my business. When I've done speaking engagements, I always think about Kimmy, because she said she had a choice to make. She had to choose to live that day or choose to die. She was next to a great white shark in the middle of the ocean, and she had to decide to just get super calm, okay? Because when you get super calm in the storm, you could get super focused. And she said here, okay, as soon as I focused on the one thing and I gave it my all, it opened up the door for everyone else to notice my other interests and passions. And the reason why she said that is because Kimmy actually now, okay, after all this accolade and everything, they highlight her cooking. I think she had a cooking show last when I was writing my book, in 2017. She's an artist. They showcase her artwork. But the reason I wanted to mention this was because this woman put all of her effort into spearfishing, okay? And because she really locked in on her vision with spearfishing, what happened is that she then everything else that she loved became highlighted. And I do want to speak to the person who's out there who is trying to reach everybody, okay? You know how that goes. You want to minister to everybody. You want to bless everybody. You want to reach everybody. Who's your audience? Everybody's my audience. Who's your prime customer? Everybody is my customer. And the reason why we get into that mode is because we have different visions. We have a vision for business and we can have a vision for life. But in business, all right, if you've been in any kind of business coaching, you'll know that they always say, the riches are in the niches, okay? And so you got to lock down and get into the niches to stay locked into your vision, okay? And once you get into that vision niche, then what happens is that people actually get interested in what other things that you're doing, okay? So it's not really necessary to try to do 10,000 things at one time to reach everybody. It's better to do one thing really well, okay? And then have them come searching for you to learn how to do other things. All right, this is very glitchy. I'm so sorry. All right, let's see here. This is a new system. My husband just put it on here and it's really glitchy. I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm trying to get right there. Okay. So listen, this is a topic I need to talk to you guys about, because if we're going to talk about vision, we have to talk about why. If whoever's out there, raise your hand if you ever heard this term that you need to find your why, okay? I see a hand going up. If you ever heard the term, you have to find your why. The reason I want to talk about it today is because so many people get their vision and their purpose combined with their why as if they're one, but they're not. They're separate, okay? And so if you go around having a why, that doesn't mean that you've really niched in on your vision. And so to define your why, I always tell my clients and my coaching mentees this, okay? Why is like gasoline, all right? Your why is like gasoline. It's what puts fuel in your tank. When you have a very strong why, that means that you have gas in your tank, and that tank of fuel will actually get you to your vision, all right? So they do work synergistically. They can work together, but they are completely different. Like I said, for anybody who wants to know the details about it, I do have my Passion, Purpose, Time Management book where I really line that up and separate it. But your why is like fuel. But this is a question I have, Pixie. Have you ever filled up your tank, okay, just in real life and still got lost? All right.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we can act, and this is so important, okay? We can have a filled up tank, get in our car, full tank, and still get lost. And that is really how it happens with our why in life. We can have so much passion. We can have so much zeal. All right. And that zeal and that passion could actually still take you down the wrong road. All right. And actually, that's what happened with me, is that I always had a why. And I'm a disc behavior coach, so it depends on what type of disc personality you are. But I'm like 99 captain. And so my personality tends to always have a why. We're very passion driven. We have a lot of fire. And so like we're never lacking on fire, but that doesn't mean that we're good at getting to our vision appropriately, because what happens is that we can get so fired up about so many things that we can end up in Timbuktu, all right, when we never even should have went down a specific road because it made us excited, on the journey. Y'all, some people, some young people like to get in the car, and some older people like to get in the car and just go for a joyride. And your why will do that. Your why will give you a joyride. But when you are focused on vision, okay, all right, don't get in the car with those crazy kids, even though their gas is full, because you can go down the wrong spot. And in the same way, okay, you have to ask yourself, okay, you have to be the monitor of yourself and say, okay, I have all this gas going, I have this gas, but am I going in the right direction? Is this where I really want to find, is this going to the right destination? And what happened was, in my book, I write about it. All right. There's something I did. I still really don't talk about it a lot live. But there was something I did that I was extremely passionate about. And this is what happened, y'all. At some point, that gas ran out. Okay. My wide tank, it ran on empty. And I had to, I'm a woman of God, and I had to come to the Lord, and I had to say, Lord, listen, up until that point in my life, I was batting pretty good. Okay. Whatever I put my hand to, it seemed to turn to gold. I was always, succeeding in life. But there was one thing that I was so fired up about. My gas tank was full. And what happened was I was failing at it. I was drowning in it. I felt like I couldn't get up for air. And I was, like, Lord, where are you? Like, I remember saying my address, like, here's my address in case you forgot where I live, because I don't hear you, I don't see you, and I don't feel any kind of help right now. And this is what I heard as clear as day. And because I said, Lord, you said I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me, but I'm not feeling very strengthened right now, Lord. And he said, Emmasara, you can do all things through I who strengthen you, but I haven't called you to do all things. My gas tank was filled, and it got me to a place where I couldn't go any further because I wasn't supposed to go any further. Can anybody hear that? All right. And so in the sovereignty of life, okay, we will be allowed to run out of gas for a purpose. So if you're somebody that is watching today and you feel like you run out of gas, you feel like, Emmasara, you're speaking to me right now, this is a perfect opportunity for you to go back, all right? And just like it says, don't lose sight of the vision, or in some cases, I say, keep locked on the vision. This is a perfect opportunity for you to say, you know what? She just said that maybe, okay, my gas was full and I was excited about something to go down a road I was never supposed to go down. All right. So that's something that only you and your creator can work out. But I do want to bring that to you today as we're talking about, not losing sight of the vision. So let's go ahead and talk about, I'm so sorry. He put it on something new. I should just let him do my old thing. All right, there it goes. All right, so vision. So vision, I have two definitions here. All right, so if I've now defined why for you, I want to define the vision for you. All right, and so vision in my definition, vision is the dream that is in your heart. It's your hope for the future. Okay, that is that's Emmasara. You can keep it if you'd like, but if you're more a technical person, you can go down to the bottom, and this is the technical definition. It's the definition of vision is the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. And for the people of faith here, we already know there's a scripture that says, without vision, what? A man will perish, right? And so we have to have vision. And why? Because vision gives us hope. If you think about it, some of the most depressed people on this earth are the ones who lost hope. But what if they just lost hope because they ran out of gas doing something they were never meant to do? And they just need to get to the place where they understand what their purpose is. And like I said, that's what I write about. I mean, literally, okay, that was my story. Okay, everything I'm talking to you about, I've been down that dead end straight. I've never been down a darker alleyway in my life until I realized that. And I'll tell you right now that even though it was the darkest day of my life, it was the most powerful time of my life, because it set me in a place where from that point forward, I realized, okay, just because you get excited about something, just because you feel passionate about something, does not mean that it's the right thing for you to do. All right. And so I also want to say this about vision, is that my vision has always been the same. All right. And it was that I would help families. My vision was a legacy vision. It was to help families become united and undivided, and to help children be protected. All right. That has never changed. That part of my vision has always been the same. Family unity and protect children. But this is what happened. Okay. Because I want to give you an example, a living example of what happened, is that I started to, in my mind's eye, say, well, if that's the end goal, I can do all this stuff. I can do this and I can do that. And because I just want to help kids, and, and how many of us get into that place where, like, I just want to help people. And what happens when you try to go jump in after a drowning person, y'all? What happens when you jump in? Are you ever supposed to? A person is drowning All right. It doesn't even matter if they're smaller than you. If you jump in, okay, and you're not somebody who's properly trained, like a Navy SEALs person or something, if you are a lay person, see somebody drowning, let me just tell you right now, in case nobody's ever told you, don't jump in, okay? Because it'll be two people who are at the bottom of that lake, okay? You don't jump in. But how many times do we do that in business? How many times do we do that, with what we're doing? We undervalue ourselves. We underprice ourselves. We want to help everybody in their brother and their sister. And what happens is that we're so busy trying to help everybody that they start stepping on us, okay, by using up our time, by using up our resources, by using up our energy. But I'm just trying to help everybody. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to be the one that saves everybody. And what happens when that person now just gets so pressed down? And we all know, okay, speaking of the choir here, when you're down, there's not many people there trying to rescue you, okay? There's not many people. We could all laugh about it because we're still alive and kicking now, okay? But the truth is that same situation has taken people to the grave, y'all, all right? Not even kidding. That same thing has taken people to the grave. They've gone their whole life. And how many of y'all know that you can work your whole life and give your best effort and still die broke instead of woke, okay? You can go to the whole end of your life and still work grinding and never have attained. But I'll tell you right now is that because I have gone to the Lord and I've said, Lord, what is this vision? But I don't want to know, Lord, I'm done with trying to rescue everybody. All right. Like, it would be more beneficial for me to know who the one person is that God wants me to reach out to than try to reach out to 10,000 people who are just going to drown me. All right. And so as you are developing your vision, if you're a person of prayer, I would suggest that you do ask God, bring it back, bring it all back, bring your whole business back. And it doesn't matter if this is not even about ministry. You could be in investments, you can be in stocks, you can be in construction, you could be in, service provider, coaching, you could be developing products, whatever it is. We all still have the same humanity. All right. We still deal with success and defeat, with failure and success. We all deal with it. And so I just wanted to say that so we have the difference between why is your gas? Be careful. It could take you down the wrong street. Okay. If you don't have a strong understanding of where you're going. All right. Behave. All right. Let's talk about burnout. All right, let's talk about burnout. We kind of alluded to it just a second ago, but this is something that I've taught my family and my kids. All right, is we now say when we have, because listen, Mama let's just be honest. Okay, my kids are gonna watch this. Is one with a lot of ideas. Okay, I get a lot of ideas, but I'm telling you, I've taught my kids this, and now they parrot back to me. And when Mama has a good idea, they say, "Mama, is that a good idea, or is that a God idea?" All right, because the fact is that we can get a whole bunch of good ideas and still not have the single one God idea and be missing the boat. All right. And, we hear that whole, that story of somebody is drowning and somebody's like, I'm drowning, Lord, how come you haven't sent anybody, to rescue me? And so God's like, well, actually, that piece of bark going by, I sent that for you to hold on to. And that one boat that was coming by, you said you didn't want to ride. And so the fact is that we can get on these good ideas and be actually missing what God really wants us to do. So it's not that he hasn't even given us the ability to do the right thing. It's just that we're so busy, waiting and doing what we want to do that we actually miss the best thing. Okay. So, like I said, my book talks about how I went for a good idea. Helping people is good. All right. But if it's not God, you can end up drowned. So, who are you doing it for? Burnout. If you get burned out, you need to have somebody to help. I mean, like an individual, you need to have a why. All right. And when I say don't try to help everybody, you have a family, y'all. I don't care who you are, whether it's a spiritual family, a work family. Everybody has somebody. They should have somebody. If you don't feel like you have anybody, listen, God bless you. And I pray that you feel the Lord's love just even now. Okay. Because there might be somebody who's like, Emma, so that's not me. I just want to cover you and say that, you are loved. Okay. I'm going to tell you this. Last year, I've been doing what I'm doing for a long time. Okay. Like I said, I've written 7 books now, and last year I burned out big time. All right, big time. I have a 400-page book that I wrote in 2019. I wrote 2 more books last year, I think it was. And like I said, I just finished another book. All right, I'm a prophetic scribe. That's what I've been called to do. Writing is something that's in my person. But last year I burned out and I didn't want to show up for the audience. I stopped doing my lives. I used to do lives Mondays, Wednesdays, do studies on the weekends, and I was always pouring into people. I was doing coaching, and last year I just straight burned out, and I had to, stop sucking my thumb. All right, I had to stop doing what I was doing and hiding out. Okay, because I was hiding out last year. I hid out all last year. Listen, when you have such a big calling on your life, there's a real enemy out there, and it can get tiring. All right. Anybody feel me on that? You can get tired from the assaults and the attacks. Okay. And so what happened was I have this vision, and this is where the vision comes in again, of helping families. I told y'all, become united and for children to be protected. But what happens is that your vision, you can say it so many times, all right? It can be so natural for you that it almost loses its oomph. Okay, does that make sense? It can be so, you leave a sticky on the refrigerator, you'll see it the first day, you might see it the second day, but after like the 5th and 6th day, that sticky doesn't even appear to you anymore. You don't even see it anymore. It's just become invisible. And so you have to have a fresh look at your vision. You have to have a fresh take. And even if that means rotating, something in the mix to keep you, coming back to it, but with a new look. All right. Then that's what you have to do. And for me, that's what happened. So towards the end of the year, I'm just going to be honest with you. I got back on track, not because I felt like it. All right. But because it was right, because I had people who were waiting on me and who were counting on me, and it was the right thing to do. And because most importantly, God told me it was time to get back up. All right. So I got back up. But this is what, we're talking about the gas. My gas tank ran empty. My why ran empty. Why? Because I think we looked at that sticky note one too many times. All right. We just looked at it one too many times. And so this year, we came into early this year, and I was in a family group. And I'm always kind of, just reading people's stories, getting a temperature of where families are, what's going on within households, because I know how to minister. I know what kind of programs to create. I know, with what kind of books and things to provide for them. And I'll never forget this changed my life. All right. I have studied hundreds and hundreds of hours of, I've studied casework. I've studied court cases, medical documents. I mean, tons of hours of research. All right. So nothing shocks me. My husband was in a level 4 prison. He worked there for many years. So we know the worst of the worst scenario. So nothing shocks me, unfortunately. But this little girl, mama, came in on the group, and she shared some information, which I'm not going to share tonight. All right. But I'm telling you right now, that one little girl, she was 2 years old. Her story, and that little girl had something to say. That 2-year-old had something to say. And when I heard what that 2-year-old had something to say, it changed everything with me. All of a sudden, that gas that was empty for so long, that why, my gas got filled, and I came back to my team. All right. And I told everybody, from here on out, we're going to do it for number 2. All right. Because that little girl was 2 years old. And so every single time I have 8 kids, y'all. I homeschool. We just relocated. We're still opening boxes. I just finished writing a book. I have a, big coaching community that I coach every single day. I give a lot, and I get tired. I'm a human being. And I'm telling you right now, because this burnout, okay, these are questions you should be writing down. If you burned out, is it a good idea? Is it a God idea? If you're burned out, who are you doing it for? Because if you're doing it just for money, that's not going to pay the burnout bill. Okay. If you're doing it just for money, it will not fill your tank, because money comes and money goes. But people, okay, and relationships that count, all right, that's what matters. And so when I read that story now, when I don't feel like moving, I'll be like, I just don't feel it. I'm like, I'm going to do it for number 2, because this is what I hear in my ear. Emmasara, how will they know unless you tell them? How will they change unless you show them? How will they do better for their kids unless they're educated? Okay, do it for number 2. And so now my team knows that when I come to a meeting and I say we're doing it for number 2, they know that we're doing it for every child around the world. who, has a voice, but it's muffled because they're just two, right? And, they could be two, they could be 10, whatever, but that's the point, is I now have somebody to do it for. So now I'm not getting that big burnout. All right. And then like the last one here is, if you're burned out, like I just said, are you doing it for accolade? Are you doing it for accolade? Because if you're doing it for accolade, then you will burn out. And I'm just going to read you really quickly here. I told you that Kimmy Warner, the one that went with the great white shark, she was diving 100 feet, doing spear fishing, and she got all ascended in, all this accolade. But I'm going to read to you guys about accolade. Okay, so Kimmy eventually quit entering contests when she realized that her passion and zeal, she ran out of gas. Her passion and zeal no longer propelled her. She had been drawn to winning for winning's sake, and she took a step back and surveyed her life and found it wanting. How many have been there? Here she was, a worldwide winner in spearfishing, living a life that she thought she wanted, yet she was left feeling empty and unfulfilled. How could this be? The passion was developed during the sweetest times of her childhood. She used to go fishing with her dad. She was walking in the footsteps of her beloved father and traveling the globe as a winner with awards she earned by fearlessness and drive. But now she laid it all down. And however, by laying it down, she could now listen to her heart. She could see that she got off track. Okay, what did I tell you? Your gas tank can be full, can take you down the wrong spot by pursuing rewards and trophies rather than focusing on what birthed her childhood passion. All right, and so after she stopped doing all the spearfishing contests, now she's like a philanthropist. She has organizations and she's doing all kinds of beautiful things with the same gift. All right, but now she's went back to the passion and the focus, and she's no longer doing it for accolade. So if you have burnout, I just want to encourage you guys to ask those 3 questions of yourself. Okay. So let's talk about what would happen. What are the 3 issues that will arise when you lose sight of your vision? What are the 3 issues that would arise if you lose sight of your vision? So the first one is that you can get off track. All right. So you have 2 ways to get off track. You can have gas that's taking you, a full tank that's taking you the wrong place. Or, all right, if you just lose track of your vision in general, Pastor E.T. is constantly saying where your focus goes, your energy flows. And it's the same thing, is that when you are not zeroing in on your vision, when you're not stepping back and then taking in the big picture, you can get confused and you can get, driven to go in the wrong direction. And so one of the issues from not focusing on your vision is getting off track. And then number 2 is over focus on money. It happens to, I would want it to be generalized to everybody, but it happens to mostly everybody. Okay. And I'm not going to say that it's never not happened to me. Okay. Because there has been times when I'm like, oh, I need to make so many sales. I need to, now my daughter's a COO. I need to make sure that I'm doing more for her. And it's easy as an entrepreneur to get focused on money. It's super easy. Okay. But your team is counting on you to lead with morale. I'll tell you a quick story. I have somebody that I know who was working for a big multi-million-dollar company, and they came into the company because of the mission, because they love the mission and they wanted to feel good about where they were working. But what happened was that, the CEO started to focus on money, and it was clear to everybody that, that the focus had changed, and it was no longer about mission. It was no more about the vision. It was now about dollars and cents. And, your team will know that if they come in for one purpose and it changes because you have an over focus on money, maybe you say, Emmasara, my vision is money. That's between you and you. Okay. That's up to you. You can have whatever vision. Nobody's going to tell you what your vision should or shouldn't be. I'm just giving you some options here and some things to think about and ponder. Okay. And then we have here, number 3 issue is an overemphasis. When you lose sight of your vision, you can get an overemphasis on what others' opinions are about you. All right. And so this is, letting people convince you to give up. How many people have ever heard about the crab? Have you ever heard the crab in the bucket story? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I used to live in Oregon. Okay. And we lived on the coast, and I literally saw this on the coast. We had, we'd have crab season. So you would get a big bucket. You do not have to put a lid on a crab bucket. You don't have to do it. Even though it could be filled almost to the top, you can stack those crabs up, because the moment one crab tries to get out of the bucket, there's one, they're going to pull him right down. Okay. And that's just the way they operate. And that's how it happens when you lose focus of your vision and you start letting the naysayers, because they will come. All right. They will come. And if you are not focused and strong upon your vision, you will get bullied. You'll get bullied by people who are trying to get you to shift from what God has told you, or what you feel like your internal passion or compass is telling you to do. And so you can have an overemphasis on what others' opinions are of you. And so as we're coming to the end here, we're going to look at 3 ways. Came on. Wow, this is so, okay, here we go. Let's use this. 3 ways to keep sight of the vision. Okay, so here are 3 ways to keep sight of the vision. So the first one is a mission statement. Now, everybody's heard of a mission statement, right? But how many of y'all have a personal mission statement? So it's very common for a company to have a mission statement. That's nothing new under the sun there. But I want to encourage everybody, all right, and going back to my family story of how we were in the mud, all right, how we were really, really having it hard financially, and how we were able to go from, 1 year making $26,000 in a single year for a family of 10 to the very next year, grossing over $26,000 in a single month, okay, came because we all had a purpose, all right? We learned how to work together, to operate together, and because we had a mission statement, okay, a personal mission statement. Now, when you have company, no matter how many companies you have, you should have a mission statement for each of your companies, but then you should also have a personal mission statement. And so I'm just going to read you guys ours, and I have a whole section in here that teaches you how to make a personal mission statement, okay? I go through it step by step, but we did include our whole entire family on our mission statement, and it really does work like a compass for our family, okay? So the Mcmillions are a generation of leaders focused on creating a legacy of world changers. We are ambassadors of Christ who work with integrity and high energy to inspire others by sharing powerful tools for life. All right. And so there were weeks and months where I would just have my little boys every day recite it, okay, so that they would be able to just say it at a drop of the hat, because I wanted it to get ingrained in them. All right. And so with that mission statement, it ties in with your vision, because what happens is every time, we had a potential to start a company, or we had a job offer or whatever, we always went back to our mission statement. All right. We are a generation of leaders focused on creating a legacy of world changers. So what we're putting our time in, we made a decision that the things that we were putting our time in, we wanted it to create a lasting change, not just for our family, but for other people. And so together we're always creating, media, books, courses, and things like that do just that. So mission statement is one of the ways to keep the sight of the vision. Okay. And then the number 2 is to include people in your vision. Like I said, I was running out of gas. Last year was a hard year for me. And it wasn't because it didn't include people in a broad sense. Like, I wanted to help families all over the world become united, and children all over the world to be protected. But somewhere in the midst of having it too broad, I lost my gas. All right. And so I had to focus on one person. And when I included that one number 2, okay, in my vision, then that's exactly what the doctor ordered, to put the gas that I needed back into my tank. All right. And then the third way is to review your vision. So write the vision, make it plain. All right. That's what it says in the good book, is to review the vision, make it plain. So you should do this and have it somewhere. You could even have it printed out. You could have it on a wall. You could make it beautiful and, put it in a frame. However you want to do it. But I would suggest that you be looking at your vision at least, once a week. What am I doing that is is in line with my vision, and what am I doing that's out of line with my vision? Because at the end of the day, y'all, all right, when you breathe your last breath, it's always that same thing. We always look over our life and we think, I really didn't need to do XYZ, and I really should have done more of ABC. All right. And it's no different than our life and our vision. We have to review our vision as if, I'm careful with my words. All right. But I would just say live every day like you want to be remembered for, like whatever it is that you want to be remembered for, live that day every day as if it was the day that you want to be remembered for. And so you can do that by yourself weekly, and then at least once a month, you should have, if you have a team, you should have a morale meeting. Like I said, the person I mentioned was in a company where the morale was high, the mission was high, the team meetings were exciting, but when the vision, was put to the side, the morale fell for the team. And so if you have a company that you're building, and this, like I said, it does not have to be ministry. Some of the best and the most exciting teams and companies to work for are the ones that understand the mission and the focus of the company. Okay. Especially when it's helping people. People love to help people. So if you create even a program within your company, so maybe, like I said, you do products and services, but if you do something within the company that allows the company to give back to the community, even the smallest way as part of the vision, so our company gives back 3% of, all of our shoe sales to buy shoes for children, then you now have done number 2 here, which was to include people in your vision. And so that's how you can actually, benefit other people. That's how you can get people in on the vision of what would be otherwise just a product company. And now what you're doing is you're creating a company that is creating a product, but they're also benefiting, people. And so that is just something that you can do to keep the sight of the vision within reach and for everybody in your team to be focused on. So this coming to the end here, y'all. So remember, this topic tonight was don't lose sight of the vision, or like I said, the encouragement is keep the sight and vision. People make time for what's important for them, just straight out. Okay, we know this. When somebody's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get to call you. The truth is you're like, yeah, you just didn't make time, right? Because we know, all right, we know. And this is a fact, is that when people make an excuse, the fact is that people will always make time for what's important to them. I'm always telling my coaching clients that, all right, because we can sit here all day long and say, oh, I feel bad because I'm not doing XYZ, I'm not doing XY. But the fact is let's look at the social media app and see how many hours you've been on social media. Okay, so let's just hit home a little bit. If you want to be vision focused, if you want to be purpose focused, then it takes a level of accountability. All right, it takes execution, but it also takes accountability. So if you guard your vision and your dream, you will take time to nurture and build it. And if you are lagging in attitude, you will lag in focus and execution. So remember, y'all, we need to stay true, okay? Stay true to yourself, make a mission statement, consider including people in your vision, and review your vision often to stay on track. Y'all, I'm Emmasara, and I'm so delighted to be here tonight. Thank you so much for your time, and I yield the mic.
Okay, if you could stop sharing your screen.
All right, we're good. Is it still sharing?
Let's see.
I hit stop share, but let's see.
Well, thank you so much, Emmasara, for that amazing presentation. Yes, that is day number 6 of Mayhem and May, and I'm so excited to have had you. You talked about so many wonderful things. I mean, we're going to get right into it. So we just have a few questions for you. And first, I just have to say like a few things. You're simply amazing. I mean, eight beautiful children, right?
Yes.
Eight beautiful children. That's so amazing. I have 3 beautiful children and my hands are full. So I don't know how you do it. Now, this whole organic chemistry thing, Like I get it. It's tough because it was tough for me because I'm a chemist. I have a degree in chemistry, right? And so I'm like, okay, how old was he? 7? Okay. If I ever decided to go back and get my doctorates, then maybe I'll give him a call because I think he'll be able to help me, so.
I'm looking for a tutor. So if you're interested, let me know.
Okay, but you talked about, what did the riches are in your niches. So, I'm one of those, jack of all trades. Nah, I'm just going to have to decline that because I got to stay focused, right? I can't lose sight of the bigger picture, right? So right now I'm just going to go ahead and pass it to Miss Pixie Lee. She has a few questions for you. She's going to start it off and then she's going to pass it back to me. And then I'm going to go ahead and close it out with a few questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sharia. So, Miss Emmasara, my first question is, when did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Well, I've been married for 24 years and I stopped working shortly after I had my first baby, like 20 years ago. And I'm extremely, industrious and everything like that. So you really couldn't pin me down. So I was always looking for a way to turn a dollar early on. And so I've been doing entrepreneurial stuff for a long time. I mean, as long as I can remember. I mean, even with my kids, I started off with them in 2011. I took them to the farmer's market so that they could just, learn about buying and selling. I wanted to give them that entrepreneurial spirit as well. And we ended up starting I was a professional gluten-free pastry chef. We had baked goods that were served in the finest restaurants. It was gluten-free bakery, and they didn't even tell people that it was gluten-free because our stuff was so good. So we kind of got a name for ourselves. And so that's why our kids started entrepreneurial stuff way back then in 2011. Like I had when Von Kensington was 5, he had Von Clay dough. He had organic clay dough that he sold, and he sold like melted crayons, and he used to have special orders. And so it's kind of been ingrained in me for a long time. So yeah.
Okay. Who is your biggest inspiration as an entrepreneur?
Ooh, that's a good question. Who is my biggest inspiration? Well, I love ET and the whole crew. Okay, like the squad. I like whatever training he's offered. I've probably paid for all of it. I'm actually a certified speaker by Eric Thomas and Associates, and I am a disc behavior coach by ETA. And so they got my heart, y'all, for sure.
And my last question, I think I kind of know the answer to this one, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. What motivates you?
What? Change. 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 Everybody knows me as Mother of Change. My book is called Mother of Change. We have Family of Change movement, and we have Kids of Change Club. And everything I do is a Family of Change movement is families that are breaking change and creating change. All right. Because my mom was only 14 when she had me, all. Okay. She was only 14 in our family. Teen pregnancy is very common still to this day. And so she was a chain breaker. She was an original mother of change. And so I'm just carrying on the legacy of making that change.
That is absolutely beautiful. I have enjoyed you, Miss Emmasara. You did an awesome job here with us at Mayhem in May. And I'm going to pass it back to the host of the mostest, Miss Sharia.
Yeah, so awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Pixie Lee. And happy belated birthday, Miss Emmasara, right?
Yes.
There we go. All right, so I'm a good listener. I'm a counselor. I'm a coach. And so, that was the active listening skills that I use each and every day with my clients. But thank you so much, because when you don't lose sight of the bigger picture or vision, right, then you can create that change. And we should not be afraid of change. And I think once we dispel that fear and get that out of the way, then the more people can change and the more people cannot lose sight of the bigger picture. That's right. I love your analogy, or it wasn't even an analogy, because it's a fact about these crabs, in the barrel. So I don't know if it's a funny story, but about a week or so ago, I went to the farmer's market, right? And they had the live blue crabs. And I'm like, I've been wanting some crabs for a while. And they were kind of small. And so I was like, but I got them anyway. And let me tell you, I got a workout, okay? My arm hurt for the next 2 days because I'm trying to get the crab, and the other crabs are just pulling him down. And So I'm an optimistic person. So I thought, well, maybe they're just trying to save him because they know that I'm going to eat him. Right. We never thought about it that way. Maybe they're trying to pull, but maybe it's exactly how you said, they want to just pull him back because they don't want him to get to his demise. I mean, in that sense, but they just didn't want him to get out. But I love that. And I have a few questions for you myself. So I know you stay ready. So I'm just going to go ahead and start asking away. Who do you look towards for advice? Like, who do you get your advice from?
That is an excellent question. Listen, I do operate as a prophet, and so I am very careful and cautious about who I let within my circle. And so I really only have a couple of people that I let within my circle. As far as advice goes, I take accountability extremely, extremely. It's so high on my list. I always tell my kids this, the Mcmillion, and I'm always giving them these different, mantras to say, but the Mcmillions love correction. I always tell them this: you don't have to like the way it feels. Okay. You just have to like the result. And so if you can accept correction, then, have people in your circle that are willing to tell you the truth at any cost, because the truth is really, it's everything. I mean, who wants to live by a lie? You can't live by a lie, but what's the purpose? And so I do keep just a handful, maybe 2 or 3 that are senior prophets who have been tested and true, to be my advisors. So that would be my answer.
Well, thank you so much. And that's a wonderful answer. Now, how do you define success as an entrepreneur?
Well, I say success is not in dollars and cents. I'm just going to say that straight out, because my kids have had amazing opportunities and they're incredibly successful, but not everything that they've ever done as entrepreneurs has been equated in dollars. And so it's not everything that they have done has brought in the big shmoney. Okay. Now they have done some things that have, but even when they were, when the money wasn't big, for me, success is in the character, success is in the behavior, success is in what you give to humanity. Like, so you're over there making 10 mil, okay, but you're all angry at the world and, depressed and mean to everybody. Like, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world, but he loses his only soul? And so I've raised my kids to be successful, all right, but not to go after the money. I mean, I have a daughter who has literally been pursued by multiple multimillionaires and a billionaire, okay, but gratefully for me, I raised a girl who is not, focused on money, but she's focused on character. So I'm always going to say the highest character is the greatest success. And if you happen to be an entrepreneur, that's even better.
Awesome. And last but not least of the questions is, what has been your most significant achievement?
Oh, that's easy for me. Okay, my most significant achievement, and I have a book on it as well, okay, is I had a fearless, painless birth, okay? And I want to say that was my biggest accomplishment because I set out for it, I planned for it, and I achieved it. I felt like Superwoman afterward because I have had painful, traumatic childbirths that you just want to crawl out of your skin. And, I hear from God, and I felt like he was giving me permission, and he showed me some things in scriptures to hold on to. And, like I said, I wrote about it. It's called Fearless Birth. And I've had other people who have read it now, who've had 8 kids read it, had a beautiful birth experience, who had their first child read it, have a beautiful birth experience. And just like I want to say that, and also I'm going to reach back here for a second. This book right here is also a great accomplishment. Okay, it's 400 pages. And this is my Mother of Change book. Between having a fearless birth and being able to do it, all right, after I was like, they didn't even know the baby was coming out, y'all. They were like, my midwife was like, anybody didn't take a picture, because I was so calm. All right. And so that was beautiful. I was like, I can do anything now. It's all mind over matter from here, baby. I was like, it's all in the mind now. Okay. And so I never wanted to, I'm just going to share this really quick. I never wanted to have kids. I thought that the world was way too bad of a place. I was just 20 something. I told my husband, if at the time, okay, he was 3 years younger than me. If you want to marry me, there will be no kids in your future, because I already was wise enough to know that this world is crazy and I don't want to be bringing any kids into it. All right. But he changed his mind after we got married, because they do that. They tell you one thing, they get married, and then they change their mind. So he changed his mind. God changed my mind. And then I decided to trust him But because I didn't know about, how I was operating so prophetically back in the day, I heard God very almost like audibly, like, Emmasara, if you trust me, all right, I'm going to teach you how to raise kids successfully and how to protect them. So this book is 400 pages of what he taught me. And you guys already saw the proof is in the pudding. You guys already heard my testimony. Okay. Have my kids been perfect? No. Have they been tempted? Yes. Have we had some trials and errors and temptations? And oh Lord, please do something about this situation? Yes. Okay. We have, because we're human and there's a real demon stuff out there. Okay. So this is really my greatest work right here. And it's not just because I wrote it, it's because my grandchildren and my great grandchildren will always have the same manual that the Lord gave me when I decided to trust him with having kids.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was amazing. And I can't wait to read the book. Now, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and just share, how can people get in contact with you? Like, how can they do it? Let us know.
Okay. So I have my website is emmasara.com. It's just my full name, emmasara.com. And you can book me there to speak. I do conferences. I do workshops. I actually even do situational awareness courses. I've had that every time I've had like 100%, because men don't always show up for things like, kid stuff. And it was their situational awareness. I've done them around the country, coast to coast. And whenever I've had men, dads or grandparents, granddads, they've always come up to me and they've always said, Emmasara, like, thank you so much. I thought I was doing a good job until I got into your, into your course. So they can book me there. And then I also have www.familiesofchange.com. If there's anybody who's saying like, Emmasara, I want to do what you're doing with your kids. I need some help and support in my walk. I need a discipleship. I need coach. That's all at www.familiesofchange.com. And then of course, all my books are on Amazon, y'all. And I just released one 2 days ago called Ferocious. That's going to be a game changer.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Day number 6 of Mayhem in May. And thank you so much for joining us. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Pixie, for stepping with me and we doing this thing. It's Lady Power. We have woman power up on this stage tonight. So I'm so excited about that. So there we have it. And so everyone just stay tuned for day number 7. We're going to be talking about hiring for attitude. And y'all know the quote, right? Coming together is the beginning. Sticking together is progress. But working together, now that's success. Now my name is Sharia Williams, and please join us tomorrow on day number 7 of Mayhem in May. And please remember to have an amazing day on purpose. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.